Hi, Yareli. Thanks for practicing the practice test. So let's see. This here should be the today function. You need a function that will update each time you open up the spreadsheet. So you can see here that today is the 8th and it still says the 7th because the date function just uses the date that you type in. So this is the today function, which takes no argument. We just have an opening and closing parenthesis, and it will always show the date, the current date. Quantity and cost per book. I think on your real test here, upper and lower case is going to count. So make sure you follow the directions. How I have it typed on the test is how you should copy it. And I think these guys probably also need to be middle aligned, and that is this tool right here, the middle alignment tool. Makes it look like that. The total cost here is, you'll figure this out by multiplying the cost per book by how many books. So you have 4 books. They're $10 each. So that's an easy one. We know it's $40, but we're going to put the math here. And there's our formula, and it uses relative cell reference, and we'll copy that down. The tax, your formula is perfect for the tax, except you don't want to have to type it in each time. You want to be able to copy it down. And in order to do that, you need to do absolute cell reference for cell H1. So we'll add our dollar signs in the cell address for H1, come back here and copy it down. And now you can see they all use absolute cell reference. We only had to type it in once. The total with cost is perfect. We're just going to add those two up. Your sum function down here looks perfect. Here you're just missing your false. So when you didn't put the word false, it gave you a false. But I think you're either supposed to order or not order with the word no. So we just type another comma, quotation mark, no, quotation mark. And now we can update this, copy it down. And now it says no instead of order. So you need to remember to add in, if you don't want to use the words true, false, then you need to type in the words that you want to use. And let's check your conditional formatting. Looks perfect. December discount is, I think this number needs to show what the discount is out the door. So you get a 5% discount on the total cost. And so what does that look like when you walk out the door? So the math for that is, if we just figure out what 5% is, that math looks like this. We just multiply the total cost, by the discount. So $2.13, and it looks like that's what you have here. A little bit longer math, but we want to know what this number looks like minus this number. So we're going to adjust this formula. First of all, we're going to make H2 absolute cell reference, right? So that when we copy it down, we don't have to type it in each time. And then we're going to do our order of operations here and add parentheses. And before the parentheses, we're going to add 4260 minus 4260 times 5%, which we know here is $2.13. So we have our bigger number here, right? The bigger number minus, and because we added our parentheses, Excel will follow the order of operations and it will multiply these first and then subtract it from this number. F4 gets relative cell reference because when we copy it down, we want it to go to F5 and F6 and F7. So I'm going to click on the check mark up here and copy this down. And that's what it looks like out the door. So if we double click on this one here, we can see that it used F10 and it stayed here at H2. For your VLOOKUP, you need to be looking up the value here so that if I change this value, let's say I put in book 4, everything would get updated. But you chose to have it look up the answer here in A10. If I double click, I can see that. So that doesn't work because it defeats the purpose of being able to use the VLOOKUP to just change the book numbers here. So what we're going to do is, and then let's see, your table A4 to A10, your table needs to select all the information, the whole table. And then, so let's see what that looks like. Equals VLOOKUP. And we're looking up this book number, comma, and we're looking it up in this table. Your lookup values are always going to be in the first column of your table no matter what. So that's a given, and then the rest of the columns have information maybe that you want to obtain. And in this example, we want to get the cost for book 4 and the order status for book 4. So we select our whole table. I'm going to type another comma. And then the column index number, what do we want to, what column do we want a return from? Well, we want the total cost. So, or maybe just the cost, it doesn't matter, but 1, 2, 3. So the cost per book is in the third column of this table. So we type the number 3, one more comma. Now, it's asking if this is an approximate match or an exact match, and that is referring to what we're looking up. And we need an exact match. We need to find book 4. If we don't find book 4 here, then we don't want an answer because we only want an answer for book 4. So double click exact match, and you can just hit your enter key here. And now if we can see book 4 is $25. If I change this to book 5, it automatically updates to the cost for book 5. So for the order status, the same thing. Equals VLOOKUP. We want to look up this cell here. We want to look it up in this table here. The column index this time is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The order status is in the 7th column. It's going to be an exact match. And there we go. And again, if we change the book, everything automatically updates. Books for sale, let's see. So you have your numbers, you have your totals, average. So you never want to include the total and the average. It will skew your average. And just the fact that your average is 174 should be a red flag. Let's see. Oh, you chose B to 11, right? Oh, I see what you did. Okay. Either way, we're not taking the totals. But 174 is larger than any of these values here, right? So we want the average, but we actually want it for each day. So this is going to be equals average, and we're just going to do it for Monday. We're not including the total, right? The average function does that for us. The average function, that its job is to add up these numbers and divide by how many numbers it's adding up. And then we can just drag this across, right? It uses relative cell reference. So this one, if I double click, is taking the average for Tuesday. If I double click on this one, it's taking the average for Thursday. And so again, here you want the least minutes read in a day, not from the total. Equals min for each day. And the most, again, you would never use the total, right? The total is always going to be the most. So we don't include totals. And our range for this one, again, it's just going to be each day of the week. And you can actually, we can put these in here, select both of them, and copy them over. Right? So I can double click here, and it's the minimum for the total minutes read. Okay, so minutes per day, and it looks like you took it from this information instead of this one that has the minutes on it. And I think this shouldn't say books for sale. I think this is your minutes one, right? So anyways, you would have used this data, and to do the minutes for each day, we select this data here. We don't take totals because, again, that skews our chart that we would create because it would be half of the minutes. So it would look like this. You make sure that you select enough information. So here I have the days of the week. We can add an access over here that would say minutes. One down here that would say book name. Update your chart title to something appropriate that is telling of what this information is showing. And total minutes reading per book. I'm not sure. If you just want the totals, we would select this information here, hold down the control key, and select the total. Again, you're not taking the total down here. And then this one is asking it per book. If we did it per day, then we would have selected up here and then down here. But we're doing it by book, so we select the book name and the total minutes over here for each book. And that would look like this, right? So here you have the name of the book and the total minutes. And again, you can add an access down here and over here on the side that is telling of that information. And then I think you needed to do a pie chart maybe for book 6, minutes read for book 6. So again, we choose the days of the week, let go of your mouse, hold your control key down, choose book 6. And notice I started in column A, even though there's no information in this cell. In order to be able to grab the name of the book down here, it has to match up. And I think we're making a pie chart here. Let's see. There you go. So here it has the name of the book. It has, it tells you what the days of the week are, and then you would add some data labels. You can choose a chart style to add them. These would be better as numbers instead of percents. So I can click on that one time, right click on it, format data labels, and uncheck percentage and say choose value, right? And then we could update this title to say book 6 minutes. And then these numbers would be a little bit more meaningful here. Okay, I hope this helps you out a little bit. Let me know if you have any other questions.